Okay, so here's the situation. Sophie Cunningham, one half of the Blonde Bombers, just went on record exposing the truth behind Bria Hartley's controversy and dropped some major insider intel on CaitlinClark's injury, and it's got fans spiraling. But forget about controversial fouls or arguments over referees. This is bigger. We're talking about CaitlinClark possibly stepping away from the WNBA altogether. Yes, seriously. The league's brightest and most marketable star might be thinking about walking away, and fans are shook. Would you support Caitlin if she left? That's the real question. And Sophie might have just added fuel to a fire the WNBA can't put out. Sophie essentially cracked open a discussion the league hoped would stay behind closed doors. Caitlin's time in the WNBA may not be long-term. And the crazy part? It's not that hard to believe. This isn't some overreaction. The signs have been there. Let's be real. Caitlin is no longer a rookie. She's in her second season, and by now the league should know how to protect her. Instead, every game she's targeted, fouled hard, pushed around, and treated like she's not the face of the sport. And the WNBA acts surprised when someone suggests she might be done? Please, this league has practically been daring her to walk. Rewind a bit. Sophie Cunningham, who's been fined so much she might as well have direct deposit set up with the league office, is now the one saying what we're all seeing. Caitlin's situation? It's not sustainable. When asked about Caitlin's recovery, Sophie made it crystal clear. Even Caitlin doesn't know when she's returning. She called it a legit day-by-day situation, not holding back or playing coy. And she mentioned something that hit fans hard. Caitlin would probably already be back if this wasn't the WNBA. Let that sink in. In another league or even another sport, Caitlin might be healed and playing. But here, the physicality, the lack of protection, and the quality of the competition mean she can't afford to come back until she's 100% game ready. Because this league, it doesn't play basketball, it plays rugby with a basketball. And Sophie said it best. Caitlin has to wear armor just to survive the games. And that armor? It's what hurt her in the first place. That's not just ironic, it's sad. Then came the comment that shook the internet. Sophie flat out said if this wasn't the WNBA, Caitlin would already be playing. That stung. Not just because it might be true, but because it forces fans to look at the WNBA with a critical lens. Why are we watching one of the most talented players in the game sit out while the league fumbles every opportunity to protect her? Instead of celebrating her impact, sold-out arenas, skyrocketing merch sales, insane ratings, we're wondering if she'll even finish this season, or worse, if she's planning an exit altogether. Sophie, we see you holding it down. We appreciate you recovering and still speaking up because someone has to. The WNBA has been exposed, and it's not pretty. Here's the harsh reality. CaitlinClark doesn't need the WNBA, but the WNBA, it desperately needs her. She is single-handedly responsible for a surge in visibility the league hasn't seen in decades. Take her away, and it's back to half-empty arenas and struggling to make headlines. The problem is that the more the spotlight shines, the more cracks get exposed. Poor officiating, inconsistent discipline, and clear favoritism. Take Paige Buchers, for example. Love her, respect her talent, but she gets protected on the court like she's royalty. Sophie even pointed out how Paige couldn't be touched in a game. Every little contact got a whistle. That kind of star treatment isn't extended to Caitlin. She gets hacked, shoved, and fouled. And if she dares to speak up, she's the one catching heat. That's the double standard. And it's not subtle. Sophie hinted at it, even though she had to be careful with her words. Because in the WNBA, some players can talk freely while others get fined for breathing too loud. Angel Reese can say Caitlin gets special treatment and no one flinches. But if Sophie cracks a joke or points out favoritism, it's straight to the fine bin. That's not equality, it's targeting. And when the targeting always involves Caitlin, it stops looking like coincidence. It starts feeling personal. And here's what the league doesn't want to admit. Caitlin is too smart and too driven to stay in a situation that breaks her down. She's competitive, yes, but she's also strategic. If the WNBA is draining her physically and mentally, why wouldn't she look at her other options? Overseas play is always an option. Europe offers higher pay, less brutal schedules, and, ironically, better officiating. Caitlin could head to Spain, Turkey, or Italy and immediately become the highest-paid women's basketball player on earth. She wouldn't have to fight for fair treatment. She'd be the main event. And fans? They'd follow her. They'd buy subscriptions, wake up at 3 a.m. to watch her games, and keep her stars shining from across the globe. The WNBA, left in the dust. And if that wasn't bad enough for the league, there's something else. Caitlin might not even stick with basketball. She's already expressed interest in golf. And she doesn't need to be a golf prodigy to succeed. Her brand, her charisma, her competitive drive, it's enough. Sponsors would trip over themselves to sign her. Think of a Paige, Spiranak-style trajectory, but bigger. Caitlin could go full-on media star, play casually, do campaigns, and make more money than she ever could risking her knees on a hardwood court. And the WNBA? Again, scrambling. But here's the chilling part. Fans would support that. Not just accept it. They'd cheer her on. They'd say, "Protect your peace, protect your body. You gave more than you got." Because from the outside, it looks like the league used her for ratings, then left her out to dry. And Sophie Cunningham? She said what needed to be said. Maybe Caitlin should walk away. Maybe that's the smartest move. And when a current player says that out loud, it doesn't sound like gossip, it sounds like a wake-up call. But this all points to a deeper rot, the double standard embedded in the WNBA. The league picks and chooses who to uplift, who to protect, and who to penalize. Paige is celebrated before she's even proven herself in the pros. Caitlin is constantly criticized despite transforming the league. Sophie is fined relentlessly, while others get to talk wild with no consequence. Fans see it. They're not dumb. They've noticed the inconsistencies, the vague injury updates, the shady PR spins. They know this league doesn't always play fair, and they're starting to wonder, what happens if Caitlin leaves? Honestly, it's a nightmare scenario. Sponsorships would collapse. TV networks would pull back. Attendance would nosedive. The CaitlinClark effect isn't marketing fluff. It's the reason people started tuning in. Without her, the WNBA reverts back to fighting for scraps in a crowded sports world. And fans? They won't blame Caitlin. They'll blame the league for failing her. Sophie's comments cracked that door open, and now there's no closing it. Let's consider the possible outcomes. 1. Caitlin stays, rehabs, and gives the league another shot. Maybe she dominates, wins MVPs, and forces the WNBA to finally treat her like the superstar she is. But if that doesn't happen, and the league continues to wear her down, it ends in burnout, or injury, or both. 2. She heads overseas, plays less, earns more, gets appreciated, and lives her best life. WNBA fans wake up at 2 a.m. to watch her drop 40 on EuroLeague teams. Meanwhile, ESPN's WNBA coverage slowly fades into the background. 3. She walks away from basketball completely, takes the brand she built, shifts to golf or media, and builds an empire. Everyone laughs now, but they laughed at Jordan when he tried baseball too. The truth is, Caitlin doesn't need to be elite in golf. She just needs to show up. The marketing alone would do the rest. And here's what makes this all so dangerous for the league. All of these are real possibilities. If your biggest star has more viable options outside your league than inside it, you've already lost her. Sophie Cunningham didn't create this narrative. She just dared to speak it. And fans? They're listening. They see the treatment, the silence, the favoritism, and are done making excuses for it. The WNBA had lightning in a bottle with CaitlinClark, and they might have wasted it. If they don't pivot fast, the decision will be made for them, and it won't go their way. So now we're left asking the million-dollar question. Will Caitlin stick around and try to survive the chaos? Will she jet off to Europe and leave the drama behind? Or will she shock everyone and exit the game altogether to do